So as hunters, we're often looking for those natural rutting corridors and those spots that just naturally set up very, very well for rut hunting. But if we are landowners, we can actually create those spots. So I'm about to leave Morning Bow Stand here, but I want to show you why this spot sets up very, very well for rutting activity. And I actually created this spot to set up very, very well for rutting activity. So here's kind of the general overview of the spot that I'm sitting in this morning. The first component that sets this spot up well for morning rutting activity is the fact there is food all the way on that side of the woods. We got a food plot there, we have a big cornfield over there, so that's where the deer are going to be at overnight, doing their feeding, running around, doing their rutting activity. I'm set up here waiting to catch that natural movement coming back up off the food. I have a bedding cut all the way through there. It's over an acre. So this woods used to be wide open. It didn't have any deer in it. I mean, if deer were in here, they were just passing through. But now this woods actually holds deer because of that massive bedding cut that is set up right there, just off the food. I also have thermal bedding in the form of these conifers. So the deer will bed up in these conifers, and they'll also bed up in the natural bedding cut. They prefer the conifers when the weather gets really, really nasty, but they still use this bedding cut as a browse area to get that natural woody browse that they rely on as a food source. Back down in here, that's southeast of the stand, we did some pretty substantial logging, so that's going to blow up and turn into a bedding area as that hardwood regen comes back. So where I'm sitting, I catch natural movement coming off the food. I catch bucks cruising the downwind side of all this bedding because my northwest wind is coming this way. So the bucks will sit and they will cruise the downwind side of all of this, scent checking for does. There's a yard site off that way, so my northwest wind can blow clean, where I don't have to worry about deer smelling me because most of the movement filters up between the two bedding areas. We got logging there, bedding cut there, so the movement comes between the bedding, it comes from the food, it comes on the downwind side of the bedding, and it even comes up through the conifers right here. And as a little more incentive to pinch the deer down right here, I even have a rope, I shouldn't say a rope, that's a vine scrape sitting right there, and you can see that the deer are hammering it. So that's just a great communication hub for all the deer that are passing through here. In addition, I have a hinge cut screen all the way down that edge. So what that does is force the deer up out of this bedding to come right by me. And if the deer are up in the conifers and they want to cut through here, here's the spot that they have to cut through. You can see I got a hinge cut screen, very small. That's more just to direct traffic. A few hinge cuts right there to force the deer down right here, so everything comes right through this gap. I mean, we have had some good hunts in the spot. I mean, it was just within the last 3 years that we've really set it up like this, with adding the bedding and kind of creating those funnels. I mean, I got some travel corridors cutting in, coming up off this side, and I got one coming up here. That's kind of the main one. But it was in the last 3 years that I really got to it and put some time into this woods with the chainsaw to create this setup. But we have had good encounters. My dad missed a good buck right over there. We've seen a couple other decent bucks off this stand, but this is a spot that, as we've added to it, I did a lot of work down in there this summer. As we add to it, I know this is going to be a spot that eventually produces for us because we get a lot of daylight buck activity right down in that cut, and a lot of mature daylight buck activity that's been down in that cut. So if you're willing to get to work, you can create spots like this. You don't have to just sit and hunt spots that naturally set up well for running activity. You can make spots set up well for running activity. And this is a spot that, like I said, it just used to be garbage. I mean, there may be a couple deer passing through this small woodlot, but now we're actually holding deer, and we've created a spot that deer want to be during the rut, especially bucks. So if you're willing to put in the sweat equity that's needed to build up a spot like this, you can see success on your farm. All right, y'all take care. God bless.